Well, would you ever run for office, Eric?
I come with baggage, and so that's really my
You know
only
what?
thing.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, yeah,
Everyone comes with
it's
baggage.
I mean, my baggage is a bit, but look, as an independent,
Hey,
I can
you know what?
100% make
You
it
know
work.
what? You know what?
Um,
Sorry. I want to interrupt you for a minute. I want to talk about your baggage.
yeah, fair, yep.
Okay. And I would really appreciate. Um, I understand your baggage. You've been really open about your baggage and about your past, right?
Yes.
Your past doesn't matter. It's the equivalent of looking in a rearview mirror. It
Mm,
doesn't matter what you do back then. It's a matter of the direction you're going now.
mm,
And I'm going to say this because this is really important to me because I see this all the time of people just banging on trying to use your past as a weapon to shut you up or discredit what you said. You know what? You, my friend, are are doing good, and just keep doing that. Don't worry about the past. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of public officer, I've wanted to do it for years. Obviously, at the right time, I would put my name in the ring in the hat, right? Um, but since like 2020, 2021, I've been like, okay, this is what I actually want to try and do. It's a matter of finding the right circumstances and people to allow it to happen. Now, the issue I have is, as an independent, I could 100% try and make it happen. I'd be very unlikely to get the support. Um, but at least I would be able to, campaign and put my name in the hat without some party being like, actually, no, we're not interested for X, Y, and Z reasons. Or it's too much, it's too much baggage for us to take on and try and explain to the media and all of this sort of stuff.
yeah.
So there is the option of I can 100% put my name in the ring, but it's probably not going to amount to anything other than maybe a bit of exposure. But is that exposure I want to put on my family if, for example,
There
it's
you
not
go.
actually going to achieve anything?
There you go.
But by comparison, or not by comparison, but if I were to manage to get the support of a political party that were willing to take on that baggage, then I would be 100% prepared to just go for it.
So
And I'm
what would you run for local MP and then work your way up or
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I would, depending on whether or not, like, so for example, if I look at a party like New Zealand First,
yeah.
they have options of, apply to be selected as our candidate for this region. I, depending on my situation, am very, very open to throwing my hat in the ring at an electorate that I don't currently stand in 2026. I'm very, very open to that. Perhaps 2029, all depends on my situation. But I'm open to doing that, throwing my name in the hat, and if they are willing to say, look, hey, look, we appreciate or we understand the past, then great. I'm there. I'm happy to, you know, campaign, represent them, whatever. Or another political party that, resonates with the vision that's consistent with mine and so forth. But, it's about really what's going to be dependent on whether or not I do ever stand for public offices, whether or not I have the support of a political party that's actually going to have a chance. Because I don't want to do it as an independent unless I think it's actually viable. Because exposing my family and other people that have known me in my past that may have not the greatest memories or may feel insulted by the idea that I'm being put in this position or trying to achieve such a status. I want to ensure that it's not in vain. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, man, I think that there's where the separation lies with a lot of this stuff, right? You have someone who's running for a particular political position, right?
Yeah.
and you only know so much about them. But then you have this like subcategory of people going, "Oh, I know this about this person and this stuff that they're not talking about," and da, 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 da. There is no one, absolutely no one on the planet that can sit there and stride through life with this righteous mentality of how perfect that they are, and they've done nothing wrong ever, and they're just like perfect, right? Everyone's had some shit. I've had some shit. You've had some shit. Everyone's had shit in their life. You've all dealt with stuff in your own way that
Mm.
should not stop you from moving forward and going, you know what? I know where I fucked up. I know where other things are wrong, and I want to move forward on it. So,
Yeah.
I you know what I mean? I mean, your
Yeah.
case specifically, because you are hammered with this on a
Mm.
regular basis, and you handle it like a champ, to where you just go, yeah, yeah, it happened. You know what? But here's where I am now. That's the most impressive to me. That is the most respectful, awesome thing that, seriously, mate, all of my respect to you is right there on how you handle it. You take ownership for whatever happened. It's done. It's over. It doesn't matter anymore. It's where you are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think someone in my position, I think it's really important that if you want to go into politics or even engage in political discourse, that you have a very solid understanding of what it is you intend to achieve. Because if you're just doing it because you want to be involved, then you're probably not going to be able to give people enough justification to take that chance on you. Because regardless of whether or not someone can overlook it, if they've got no real reason to, they're not going to bother. Um, and so for me, I've always had a heavy focus on dramatic um, changes within the New Zealand's justice system, for example, completely
Yeah.
overhauling the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a good balance of of punishment, so of a punitive approach and a rehabilitative approach. And I say this to every single lefty, and I say this to every single person that likes to, praise National's approach. Unless you're doing both, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing both, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
And so, um, yes, so I've I've always kind of had in the back of my mind exactly what I would want to see changed, exactly how I would reshape the entire system, and it would be very, very complex. But it needs to be complex in order to be successful. So I would bring that point of difference, something that no one else has envisioned, or know that I've not seen anyone else envision, at least in this country. So that would be a point of difference. But of course, as well, I'm a straight talker. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, and I'm going to fundamentally put the nation first. Hence my I don't know, association or attraction to a party with the same name. Um, but I'm very much, especially in recent years, become more and more of a nationalist, someone who places emphasis on not selfish ways of thinking. And this is what I think people forget with things. They like to think, I want to vote so that I can improve my life. I'm like, if you're just voting to improve your life, you're not going to improve shit. What you need to do is what you need to vote to improve your entire nation, because when your entire nation improves, that comes back onto you, and subsequently improves your life in all the ways you want it to improve anyway. So
Yeah.
if you're not voting to achieve that, then you're failing yourself and you're failing your nation. And of course, if the people in the positions to make the decisions and pass laws and so forth aren't doing the exact same thing with every policy they pass, then then they are failing the nation. And if you
Yeah.
do not have enough people in the political space advocating for absolutely every single policy being passed to be reflective of what a successful nation is going to look like, or is going to advance achieving that vision, well, then again, you are failing. And without people being there advocating for quite frankly, nationalist policy, then the country is going to be in a state of decline, and we are going to sell our souls to globalist bullshit.
So, how do you strategically dismantle that as a message? Just say, this is where we need to be for all people. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a big thing is saturation, and by saturation I mean ensuring that enough people are seeing your message. If if enough people are seeing your message and they're seeing it enough, and they're seeing it at least to an extent that counteracts the mainstream narrative, then you're going to start to drag people across. People are going to start questioning what that mainstream narrative is, until it gets to a point where you're building and building support, and suddenly you're oversaturating, and then you are now the prominent or the prominent voice.
I want to play something that reminds me of you.
Good old DJ.
You can see it, can't you? You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see it. The listeners can't see it, but I want to play this, so I'm going to put it on here. And this is you. This really is you on that front. Here it is.
Yourself at the moment.
You have as much time as anyone else will.
Yeah, well, okay, well then let me just ask you a few more questions and you can answer them if you want to and not if you don't want to. I mean, well, I think we've got 3 more minutes on our agreement.
Your foot's starting to jump a little bit. You better get to your next question.
You, the reason I'm asking about the past is that you've talked in other interviews again about your relationship with your father and the role of all of that in the dark periods you entered. And,
Seriously,
and
this is
taking
you.
drugs and drinking all of that.
It's like all those haters out there, like, oh, you did this and you did that. It's just like, you're over it, right?
They just sit there looking at them like, you're done.
every time this pops up on my feed, I think about you, because you handle it the same way, right? You just like, yeah, okay, all right, yep, all right. What are we talking about? Are we talking about this? Or are we talking about that? Right? Because everyone's got demons, right?
Exactly.
Move on. Fuck off. Right? Fuck off. It's not what you did, it's what you do now.